Hello everyone and welcome to week 3. We're now at the halfway mark, and as usual the 5-week sessions are flying by. It looks like for last week the test scores were overall quite good. I was however disappointed to see that many of you did not complete the forums. Remember that these are assignments and they're not optional, so it'll really hurt your grade if you continue to miss these. For both of your forums, it looks like there were a lot of interesting opinions in both your assignments. I posted some reactions, so be sure to go back and look at the comments on your posts. For the memory forum in particular, many of you mentioned the witness's social status as a factor that made them reliable. There's really not much evidence that this is the case. Factors such as questioning procedure and the circumstances of witnessing the crime are going to be much more important than socioeconomic status of the witness. Also, just to give you a little bit of background information, this was a real case. So to give you the rest of the story, there's some important information to know. There was another suspect who fit the original description given by the victims, and another victim tentatively identified his picture as the assailant. The picture of the second suspect was never shown to the 5 witnesses who identified Tyrone, so there was some kind of question as to whether there could have been someone else. In addition, despite the fact that there was at least one additional attack while Tyrone was in jail, the judge did not allow the testimony about similar crimes if the victim was to testify that the assailant was someone other than Tyrone. So there was the possibility, again, that similar crimes were committed while Tyrone was in jail. Tyrone was tried the first time and the jury couldn't reach a decision. He was tried again and the jury convicted him, but the conviction was overthrown because of jury misconduct. And the prosecution tried the case a third time and the jury could not reach a verdict. So the prosecution ended up dropping the case, but only at 3 years after Tyrone was originally charged with the crime, which meant he spent 3 years in jail in the process. So we don't know for sure, but they were never able to convict him. So I think this is a really interesting example of how important it is to really understand the processes that go into eyewitness identification. Moving on to other logistical stuff. For those of you who did the extra credit assignment last week, and there's another one this week, just so you know, extra credit will be calculated into your grade at the end. Each assignment is worth up to 1% of your final grade. In the grade book, it'll probably show up as a 0% if you did the extra credit and blank if you did not. Don't worry about this, I will add it in manually at the end. Moving on to this week. This week we're covering 3 chapters. We're going to start with chapter 4 on consciousness. I've got a video example of attention, an infographic on sleep deprivation, and then an interactive website on the influence of drugs in the brain. For this chapter there's no required assignment, but there is this optional extra credit assignment here and then a test. For chapter 7, I've got a few examples of some of the challenges to the thinking process. So the Stroop task is one example, and then the availability heuristic is another. Your assignment for this chapter is another forum. We're calling the Multiple Intelligences Forum. Basically, you'll read the book about the 7 multiple intelligences. Then the first thing you'll do, you're going to complete this table. The first thing you'll do is rank each intelligence on a scale of 1 to 7 for how much you personally have it. And then I want you to rank them from most to least important. So these you shouldn't have repeated numbers. You should just rank the first most important, second most important, and so on. And then finally, I want you to come up with a famous example of someone with each type of intelligence and also justify why you think they have that intelligence. You'll also need to respond to at least 2 other people's posts, and then once you finish all of those assignments, you'll take the Chapter 7 test at the end. And then finally for Chapter 8 on motivation and emotion, I've got 2 video examples. Your assignment for this one is actually in quiz format, and basically you'll need to figure out what motivational theory best fits the behavior described, and then finally you'll complete the test. So as usual, if you have any questions, please contact me and have a great week.